Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the World Tactical Racing League number 72 of the Team Time Trial phenomenon out on Zwift, the largest Zwift event each and every week. According to the statistics I have in front of me this week, we're looking at 475 teams throughout the day in all the zones, 2,850 racers, 8 zones plus the Premier League with a total of 9. We're out on Greatest London Flat for going to be 31.2K for one lap. We'll be covering the Vienna, which is the ladies, the Espresso, which is the AA+, as well as the Lattes, which is the Bs and the Cs, as far as the categories go on Zwift. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle's next to me here, coming out of Colorado. And this is a long-standing course that's been in the TTT for a while. And some pretty fast records here, and I think we're going to have the usual pretty hotly contested throughout the day here, Dave. Oh, we got a mic, Dave.
Oh, that's going to be the story, Nathan, no doubt, when you look at it. Some of our records actually date back to October of 2019 on this course. Greatest London Flat, 31K today. Nathan, just referencing what you started with there, if you extrapolate out, so we're just about to hit 3,000 racers here. This is the 72nd running of the WTRL, the World Tactical Racing League. You know, you're looking at in the middle of 150, like around 150,000 racers taking part during a year. So you run, and so tell me, New York Marathon, 30,000, Boston Marathon, 30,000, right? They only run that once a year. I would be interested to know of any other event that has more participant starts than what we do in a year. Anyways, that being said, it's a monster week of racing here. A lot of riders are coming back, Nathan. I wanted to shout out the Cryogen squad. They have 25 different teams, and we have one of their riders, the South African Aaron Burrell, joining us. He's racing out of Surrey Hills, where it's absolutely lashing down rain outside. Perfect day for team time trialing on Zwift.
Definitely a perfect day for that. That is definitely one of the motivations to get out on Zwift, that's for sure. We're going to jump right on in to the race with the Espressos. I believe we're in with the to begin with here. Excuse me. No, we're actually in. Espressos are going to be the C pen, and we do have that. We're actually in with the Lattes here, and it's going to be D Swan from the BRT team here leading things out. BRT was the first ones to go out on course for the Lattes today. Burton there following it up. Sure, they're Spink and Allen and a few others from the BRT. They're struggling a little bit here. And this is always a talking point with the TTT.
Yeah.
How well they are able to really get organized and use the power as efficiently as they possibly can in order to get the fastest time around that course.
Boy, Nathan, you hit the nail on the head right there. And this is a good example of how you recover. They're 4.4K in, right? And you can see now, good job here on the tail end. So this is where you want to be like Shayna Powless, right? Just perfect job there. Ease back into that group. Good work here, riders. I'm going to give you a big ride on right now because, Nathan, we just watched how you weld back together a team time trial team. That was right on cue. Are you organizing a clinic here? Because that was perfect, guys. Good job. So just keep that momentum going now. Stay on it. There you go. Close that gap down. And all right, I feel like I'm a coach today, a director. I've been watching a lot of Tour de France lately, Nathan.
Looking through here, let's go ahead and bring up our splits as they are going to be going through at a couple of different points out here today. We are looking at the 8 kilometer, 16 kilometer, and 24 kilometer mark that we'll be looking for these splits. Hanging out in this latte crowd right now. At the 8K mark, we were waiting for the BRT Tequila Chasers as well as this Valhalla Hofund, and then Serpentine is going to be the ones right behind that, trying to chase that down. So they're going to be the third ones out on course. As you can see, though, with the Viennas, that's what we're currently looking at on the screen for the splits right now. BRTL Hell Kittens as well as the WTRL Full Gas and Sox for Watts Aero Unicorns have gotten out on course. So we'll go ahead and jump in with them and see how Viennas are starting to play out. Interesting to see Aero Unicorns maybe a little bit, that starting seed is not exactly where I would maybe expect. They definitely didn't have the top time or even the middle of the time. Now, that is a different, obviously, from the top tier elite or first Sox for Watts team. They're going to be going up against the Wonder Women and Sisu as we usually have each week. But the first ones out, we're going to be the BRT Hell Kittens, and that's who we're looking at right now.
Boy, so Nathan, have to be honest, I have really engaged with what's going on with that Vienna category. It's been some of the best racing that I've really enjoyed in my time with the sport. So there's a lot of changes happening right now out there. When I hear you talking about Sox for Watts, I mean they've split into two different teams now. So a lot of things happening there. What is interesting is to see the new squads that are coming together. We're right in that transition time of year in a lot of different ways. But I think you would agree that we're starting to see the formation of some new squads that are going to become perennial contenders out here. So the Choppers, they were legends. That team is, I'm sure, will be back with riders like Lucy Charles Barclay and company. So these different squads that make this so exciting. Again, I should go back, take a step back quickly and explain for some of our new viewers. I saw some questions coming through. Teams start with a maximum of 8, a minimum of 4. Time will be taken off of the fourth rider's wheel. And that's a big, big part of how you ultimately, a strong 8-rider team, Nathan, as you know, has a massive advantage. No matter how strong a 4-rider group would be, 8 that are working well together are unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for the teams with less bodies to work with. It's just less power out on the course, less resting that you're going to be able to get. So obviously, having the larger teams, and I think that's where a lot of the recruitment's starting to come in. You know, when we get out on course here, yeah, it's all about throwing down the watts. It's about the high heart rates, getting the efforts in. There's also a lot going on in the background to organize these teams and draft certain riders, get riders to be on these teams. I mean, it's really becoming this ecosystem of sport where you're starting to see these teams get competitive in the background to try and grab whoever they can to try and get those wins, get the fastest times they can week in and week out.
You know, Nathan, the concept of the ringer, right? I don't know if that's a uniquely American thing, or that term, I should say, but it really means just going out and looking and finding a rider that has nothing to do with your team other than the fact that you want them because they're a huge engine, right? They're not a friend, they're not from your country, that kind of thing. And I think there's probably a decent amount of low-level recruiting going on out there. So again, with 31K of racing on this tried and true course, Greatest London Flat, this is going to be a really good indicator for where your team is at right now. You're going to have a lot of data points to work with. And a big thanks to our friends Martin and Steven, who do such a tremendous job. I mean, it's a labor of love that has been so well received out there, the WTRL. It's really cool to watch what happens here. And we're right now on that on the front end of what's going to be an incredible fall season here, or at least fall up here in the Northern Hemisphere. So, all right, Nathan, this BRT team is working really well together. We've talked a bit about this too. I always have to remember that people haven't watched every single broadcast that we've had. And Nathan, you have some tremendous insight on the fastest way to get from point A to point B. And this looks like it, to tell you the truth, this mob style, as we call it, of racing, or I guess I call it that.
Yeah, it's a good point. Actually, the reality is that the straight line that you usually see in real life racing when it comes to TTT does not always work the same when it comes to racing out on Zwift. A lot of times, stacking the front end of the field with 2 or 3 riders that are always able to kind of pull through at whatever speed to continually get that snowballing effect is more what seems to be working the best. Now, you do have standout riders, though, and a lot of times you can see Andy here from Innovation at Euro Aliens pushing at 6.2 watts per kilogram when they really are there to take the full-on pulls. But then, like you're saying, that bunched up style, it always gives somebody the opportunity to quickly get out in front too, because there is a lot of draft you can get toward the front end of that pack. So a little bit different tactics, and I think a lot of the racers that are part of these perennial teams, these teams that are always coming out here, have learned these tactics, and you'll start seeing how they use larger bunches of riders to really get as much exponentially increase that speed that they're carrying through as a pack out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That momentum. You talk a lot. I mean, really similar, Nathan. Tell me if I'm wrong, because yeah, I appreciate your knowledge here. Much like when you're coming over the top of a descent and a climb and dropping into a descent, I should say. Very similar. You just want to keep putting a fresh rider up on the front, and that rotation is quicker than you might think. It's not about dragging out 1 minute 90-second pulls. It's more like hit the front for 15 seconds, give it some gas, and get off. Sound right to you?
Yeah, 100%. It really is, all about taking short turns at the front. I think keeping that
Microbursts
consistently,
and
getting high, getting it higher and higher, and then sitting in. There isn't as much, like you were saying, there isn't as much as this like 1 or 2 minute pulls to the front, unless you are that standout rider amongst your group.
exactly. You know what? I wanted to go back, Nathan, because that would be absolutely counter what I've been saying in the past. So what I'm saying is a team with 8 riders that are firing on all cylinders, working incredibly well together, and are at the same level. That's perfect. Now, if you have that, and every team is going to have, just by the way, the laws of nature, a strongest rider and a weakest rider. The goal is to have everyone. I mean, back in the days of the old like Soviet, Italian, East German teams, Nathan, they would have riders that were almost the exact same size. It was almost like for the pacer bots that you see out on Zwift right now. I mean, like having 4 identical pacer bots working together who are all evenly matched. Obviously, that's going to be ideal at the very highest level. But in the real world, that's not going to be the case. You're going to have some riders, geez, you could have a 6'6" rider, a 5'4" rider, the varying weights and everything. So what you have to do is figure out the strengths when, you want your big riders on the front at certain times. And obviously you got to figure that out. That's the craft of what we're doing here. This isn't just pedaling as hard as you can. We've talked about that about a zillion times. In this team time trial, it's not just about your effort. It's about working your effort and weaving that into the matrix of the team. I love it. This is the best hour of racing I think that we have all week long. WTRL in full effect. We're watching Cassidy right now of one of the 25 different cryogen teams. And so they're coming up on about a third of the way. But look at the speed they're carrying, Nathan. 47K right now.
Yeah, 47K, and they are doing pretty well here. It's going to be interesting to see. 10:51 currently from the cryogen gulls there at the 8 kilometer mark. We're seeing Innovation Aero Airins at 10:55. So cryogen coming through with the fastest time. They started second, so they were able to chase down some time there. 11:06 coming from Team TFC Falcons, as you can see here with Dawson, Harris, and Tailby. Wood is there as well, and Nellis now. So solid effort here from there. They got plenty of riders out here, but they're going to have to make up some time, as you can see, as those splits come through at 11:06. Vision D-Pack, Ram Raiders, as well as Evo Extra Turbo Snails, Cryo RDT Vultures, and WEZ there, just all getting started as well. So all the ones with green by there, when you see all the green there, that means everybody's out on course. So everyone in the espresso here at this point is out on course. So we'll jump in with the rest of them in just a little bit. Let's jump back on over, though, to the lattes as they are continuing on. The entirety of that group here is out on course as well. Some solid times coming on in through for the lattes at this point. Let's see if we can get them on screen here for the splits. A lot of times I do know a lot of the viewers out there do tune in specifically to get an idea of how things are playing out between their zone earlier or what they need to beat with their zone later as well. So I know a lot of you are out there, come on, show the splits. We want to see where things are at. Or you're watching live thinking, okay, what do we got to make up to try and take down the top times? So ODZ currently hold it down with the lattes with that 11:45 for the latte. We're looking at the Serpentines, though, at this point. They were the 5th seed, I believe, or no, they were the 3rd seed out on course. And they got a 12:30 currently, so a little bit of time to make up, about 45 seconds to that top ODZ squad.
They look like they've got this well in hand right now. Actually, 6 riders here as we look at Serpy. Nathan, just quickly again, as we set the table here for what's going to be a tremendous finale for all of the different categories. You hear Nathan talking about espressos and Viennas and mochas. These are the categories that we use in the world of WTRL that are unique to the WTRL. So that being said, the Vienna category is going to be the women. And as Nathan said, there's folks who are really interested in, you can look at this from so many different perspectives. Your team racing, you've got a friend out there racing. Not everybody is going to be in the elite categories out here. So, yeah, tremendous job, Nathan, trying to get everybody some love out here. ODZ, that's one of the original squads. We take a look at these splits coming in. Again, splits today at 8, 16, and 24. So here we go. First time checks. It's an 11:45 fast time for ODZ there at 8 kilometers. Tugazinata with an 11:55. The BRT Tequila Chasers just in under 12 minutes at that check. Cryogen, the Emus at 12:08. This is really close. 45 seconds all the way from tip to tail right now. We do use reverse seeding. So the fastest teams from the previous week will start last. A last point of business here, Nathan, from my end. There's 9 different waves of racing that happen around the globe. This is the Premier League. So that's one of the 9. There's 8 different time zones that you see, and you can see right there. That's a good example. PL standing for Premier League. If you look down Sisu Du, they were in Zone 7, and the Aero Flyers. Now, Zone 1 has already raced today. I know that, so they're working everything out with results there.
That's,
we'll be able to see how.
That's 71. That's my mistake. That was last week's results. 100% my mistake. That was last week's results, 71. So we're on 72 there. You can see HDR purple Armada there. So we're showing that was specifically to show what has gone down for the day so far. Apologies on that, Dave.
Is that good or bad that I didn't catch it? Because it shows how much I trust you.
Exactly. That's a good thing. That is a great thing.
Yeah, no, I'm all in. I'm bought in on the Nathan Guerra program. That's for sure. So again, for folks that don't know out there, all I have to do is sit here and talk and enjoy the racing. Nathan is running this entire production. The only thing that's even crazier is that sometimes Nathan will do that and be racing himself. Pretty nuts.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah, those days don't. Not with. Yeah, it's well. Anyways, kudos. So here we go, taking a look at. So this is going to be out of Zone 1, the AHDRL. That's the Australian Hump Day Ride Ladies Purple Armada 1 team. That's a mouthful. 45:28 is the gold standard. Live by Cycling Loud. Silver medal going to that 48:41 time, and then the Australian Hump Day Ride 6 team taking the bronze. But that gives you a good look, Nathan, at how fast the best women were out there. And that's a really strong squad, the Purple Armada. So that's a benchmark to look at here on a great course today, Greatest London Flat.
Yeah, so it looks like that's where things are standing so far. This is what needs to be beat, and the results will change as they do come in for the rest of the zones. Zone 1, the only one that has gone out so far today. If we do take, and we can take a look through and see where each one of these are at, especially as you can see holding down with HDRA Plus, Aero Masters. And it's always great to see, the Australians, they stay up late and get this done for Zone 1, and they sleep and wait to see what the result's going to be for the rest of the day late when they get up later this afternoon. So great to see that they throw down. This is where things are at for the frappes currently. For the standings before the rest of the zones go for the day. Nice job to Eat Dirt, the Draft Dodgers. It's also always cool to see when they hold on from other zones and qualify for those top spots in the top 10 heading into the next week. So this is where things stand here before we get done with Zone 2, 3, and the Premier League that all go on right around the afternoon Central Standard Time. So just gives everybody an idea where things are at. Also, when it comes to course records, this is what we're looking for to beat for the day. Socks for Watts, as usual, holding down the top spot there for the course record. 41.58 is what they're looking to beat. As far as the pros class, the indoor specialist actually with the 38.41 there in the espresso. Race 3R Fleetwood Mac, 40 minutes, and then it's going to be Kirchner E-Cycling and Dirt Power. Those are the times that need to be beat to set a new course record. It'll be interesting to see because this course is done so often that I wonder, if it's with Socks for Watts and a lot of these teams that are they going to be pushed? Are they going to be pushed with the reality of being chased by Wonder Woman and Sisu? That's a big question.
That's interesting.
In the espresso, can they be taken down when it comes to the Stars to Pros Cloud? That's a top team. Is anybody out there? Can WEZ make it happen?
Both really good questions, Nathan. A lot of times I'll have strong opinions where I was like, absolutely. Are you kidding me? The teams now are more organized and stronger. But in this case, I don't know. It's going to come right down. If they do break these records, it's not going to be by much because what you were looking at, some of those teams were really in their heyday when they had a crack at this Greatest London Flat course. So that being said, the Wonder Women have been coming on strong. No doubt about it. That is one of the team. I just saw Jamie Lee Wright, Wonder Woman cornerstone rider, is moving to London. I wonder if she saw the rain that's going on there right now. I guess Aaron Burrill told us that they had a really, really nice summer, and he would know what nice weather's all about being from South Africa. He's there racing in the Surrey Hills right now for the Cryogen Rennes team. So it looks like Nathan is picking him up right now. There you go. Look, that man has been to a bike race or two, Nathan. looks like a colleague of yours doing some mountain bike racing there as well, Cape Epic. So, Aaron, a great guy. Nice to have him joining us. And Cryogen, this is one of 25 Cryogen teams that he races for.
Yeah, I mean that's the cryogen is one of the fastest growing, longest standing too. That's one of the cool things. They're definitely that second wave of teams. I would say there was a first wave of teams: Kiss Racing Team, Vision, TFC. There was this first Team Experimental. First wave of teams that really got established on Zwift. And cryogen, they kind of formed out of this like second wave. New riders came in. Some people moved around a little bit, and from there they have done nothing but explode, especially in this last year or so. And so it's really great to see cryogen so involved, especially in the TTT. So hammering away, Aaron Borrell here now, as you can see. And as far as their times go right now, where are they staying? They were the second seed on the day, so very fast coming in. They're currently holding down a 10:51 at the last check, and that would put them middle of the pack, though. They got some time to make up here, I think.
Oh, yeah, let's take a look there, Nathan. First check coming in there. So it's always interesting when this fills. It's another one of the challenges of doing the broadcast is how you manage it.
I can push it there. There you go. That's where things.
Oh, thanks, Nathan. Yeah. So what we're going to see then now is we're filling in the first times. These won't be most likely the best times here, but
they actually had the fastest time by mistake. 10:21 at the 8K mark.
Because,
yeah, 10:21.
So taking a look there, that 10:21 for Cryo Vultures, they should come in under 21:08, I would think, at that 16K checkpoint would be my guess. Are we talking about espresso here right now? I am, anyways.
Yes,
so
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, we're looking at again, this is the second check. They're doing 31 total kilometers here. So this will give us a good feel for what teams are on a good day.
Yeah, and I have a feeling, Cryogen Vultures, they really are stepping things up, because World Elite Zwifters, they've been unstoppable, for a while now. But now we've got another situation kind of like what we've seen in
Nathan, I
Vienna.
see what you were saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's unbelievable that the WEZ, the World Elite Zwifters, are not your fastest time.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
There, but
It's been about 3 months.
A lot of times we have a walk away situation here, and now we're getting into a situation in the espressos where it is definitely. People are drafting new members. They're bringing their best. They're learning how to really race this. And I think we're starting to get to that where it's just a small percentage of difference at the fastest times in the espressos, in the Viennas, the lattes, all the categories. They're really getting the most out of what they can for that category to be very competitive. When it's within seconds like that, everybody's throwing everything they can at it. Everything with the kitchen sink, even including the kitchen sink when it comes to tactics, power, who they're bringing to the table. It's so competitive at this high end.
Couldn't agree more. Actually, Nathan, with that being said, you just sold me on the fact that maybe we do see some records being broken today, because look at the way these guys are rolling here, right? I mean, you didn't see that much of this 6 months ago, of teams this well organized. I mean, these guys are flat out flying right now. And again, that was our man Aaron Burrell, the South African, now living in Surrey Hills in the United Kingdom there. It's been really good. Boy, we chose a great guy to get a ride along with here today, Nathan. We're starting to look at more times filling in. Again, the Cryo RDT, the race development team Vultures there, going to be very, very interesting to see if they are still going to be our gold standard. They had a 7-second advantage here on a team that has been outright dominant here. If you went back a month ago, it was nothing but socks for Watts and the World Elite Zwifters. We're starting to talk about some new teams on the top of the hill, Nathan, like the Cryogen Vultures and Wonder Women. That's for Sisu as well. So we're coming up pretty quickly on the middle point of the race here. One big loop out there today, 31K, so not doing any circuits.
Let's go ahead and jump back in with the Viennas here. It's a story we've been talking about often, and it is those top three. But there are a couple other teams really starting to try and challenge too. Socks for Watts, Wonder Women, Sisu. They get a ton of attention for the performances. Well deserved, that's for sure, as we do jump in with Team Sisu here. Where things stand, though, at the moment, I'm going to push it back to the 8K mark rather than with what we currently have. And this is where things stood at the 8K mark. And as you can see here, 11:17 coming from Sox or Watts. About 20 seconds, a little under 20 seconds behind Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Sisu there, right up against it there. 4 seconds is all the difference is there. But 3 seconds actually between Wonder Woman and Sisu. So that's that's something that's heating up. We'll see how hard Sox or Watts went up. They tend to be super consistent. A lot of times I'm wondering, can they hold on to this kind of a pace with that much of an advantage? But they do tend to know what they're doing. They tend to really come on faster, actually, as they go. So we'll see, though, how that ends up playing out. It's still within striking distance. All the way down to the Swans, I would say. They're still within 30 seconds.
You know, Nathan, to spread the love, and certainly this Sisu team deserves a ton of credit. I feel like maybe I've underserved them a little bit out here. So I definitely want to, as we have the Sisu riders up here, this is going to be the team of Megan James, Kessler, MVK Kessler, Mackenzie, Kessler's on the I Race Like a Girl. There's 2 Sisu teams. That's kind of what I'm trying to work through here, Nathan. Sorry about that. It's Mackenzie Yates also out there in the squad we're looking at right now. Leah Roberts, Kelly LaFleur, Kelly Moretter-Boo. I want to make sure. There we go. Karen Langer and Carly Johan. And Carly, a very strong rider that we're super familiar with, the American. And then when you have the I Race Like a Girl Sisu squad, who I would imagine are the A team, but we'll be sorting that out today. And I see Nathan jumping in with the Cryo Swans. So this and it is going to be
the Sisu team.
This
we
Kessler.
Were mentioning there. We
yep.
were jumping in
there
with
you
the
go.
Sisu
Thanks,
team that you
Nathan.
mentioned.
Sorry. Yeah, well, thank you. We were. I'm just trying to make sure. You know, we have talked so much about Sox for Watts. I can appreciate where some of these other squads really deserve. Not that people have been. I haven't heard complaining. I'm just saying that we've heard a lot of about one team. So let's let the Swans hear their names, like the mighty Alice Perryman, Alicia Evans, Davina Greenwald, Emma Claire out there. Excuse me, that's going to be Claire with the Wrens, as is Heather Neal. Another Swan, though, is Linda Klein. Melanie Bennett has been very strong out here, one of the Wrens on another one of the cryo teams. So, Nathan, just a lot of strong women, really well organized. I feel like in cycling, you talk about the era, right? So the modern era of riding probably goes back to the beginning of the Sky Ineos domination. But here now we've moved into a new era with WTRL, the 72nd edition. I just feel like we've kicked it up a notch. And there's a good question that we're hearing a lot of, Jordan. I agree. Is Sturzo enabled, Nathan? It isn't, is it?
No, and I'm going to actually bring in, we're going to shoot on over to Martin off in the WTRL studios. Martin Carew in the background. He handles all the data. He runs things at the helm. Martin, is Sturzo enabled today, Martin Carew from WTRL, and is that a goal to have in the team time trial?
It's certainly not enabled yet. Obviously, from a team time trial point of view, we're well aware that it could make a huge difference in terms of the teams and the ability to rotate, all of that kind of stuff. But at the moment, not enough racers have the Sturzos. The supplies are a bit short. We need to get the Italians off their summer holidays and get them back manually. But no, it's not enabled for the TTTs at the moment.
Thanks a lot, Martin. And there's Martin Carew from WTRL TTT. If you do have more questions specifically for WTRL, we can bring Martin in, coming in from the technical gallery, the technical, what are we going to call that? We're going to call it technical roost, the WTRL roost. And, thanks a lot for the questions. Keep them coming too as well. We love to interact with the social medias. And if you haven't jumped in with the Zwiftcast, we did record Zwiftcast, I think it was number 88 or 87. Oh, man, that's a lot of Zwiftcasts.
Wow, yeah.
And we actually had a conversation about Sturzo and steering and its addition, as well as lots of other Zwifty chats. So go ahead and check that out over on all of the places you can find podcasts.
I'll really look forward to listening to that, Nathan. You have a Sturzo. Have you gotten to race with it yet?
I absolutely love it. I have jumped into rides that act like races, and it is amazing. I don't actually want to ride Zwift without it. So
interesting. That's the best endorsement.
Total game changer.
Good for you, man. Sounds fun. So, hey,
Johan,
I also.
What happened here?
So that's a really talented rider. We've known. So Carly is someone that has proven herself out here. I'm going to guess that's some kind of a power dropout, like the Zwift equivalent of a flat tire. So Z-Sun, Nathan, I did want to. That's another one of the Sisu riders that we're looking at here. But I did get some intel that we've talked a lot again about cryogen, 25 different teams, an insane commitment and a great place to get into racing. Well, Z-Sun absolutely nipping at their heels. They have 17 different teams. And out here today, they've got the Quasars and the Hypernovas, 2 of the 17 different Z-Sun squads. So want to make sure they get shouted out. That's going to be Jamie Lee Wright in her last days in Bermuda as she gets ready to move to London, I heard. And a big part of this Wonder Woman team and Tour de Boudica. Some big news coming out there for something a little bit later in the year, and Jamie's part of the organizing committee for that. So really appreciate, she's another great part of the Zwift community, that's for sure. So as we look at the Wonder Woman, Nathan, let's check in. Okay. So we are waiting for the split from Wonder Woman here. Z-Sun Hypernova at 22:58, fastest at 16K with the Hell Kittens from BRT. They're just 9 seconds back, aren't they there? So the 23:07 Sox for Watts, the Aero Unicorns, 23:25. Great ride by those ladies today. The Wrens at 23:26. There's a new time being put up. Cryo, the Swans in with a 22:57. So that's going to slot in, Nathan, 1 second faster than Hypernova from Z-Sun. Still waiting for Wonder Woman. Sox for Watts and Sisu. I race like her. Oh, this is going to be a dandy. Absolute Donnybrook going on here, Nathan. This is what we've been waiting for. What a way to kick off racing here in September for the 72nd edition of the WTRL. It is on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and interesting to see if you look at, this is why this team, Sox for Watts, is so incredibly dominant. Each one of the names on this team, I click on a name and I go, that's a Zwift All-Star.
Wow.
That's a Zwift All-Star.
There you go.
That's a Zwift household name almost at this point. I love how that's developing as well.
Yeah,
we had a conversation about esports and how to develop sport in the Zwiftcast at 2 a.m. this morning when we were recording, and the announcement of the World Championships, how we go about growing the sport. It's great that there's World Championships, but also looking at the individuals in this community that have shown themselves week in and week out. Claire Good, a household name within Fearless, one of the dominating forces here, coming together with this Sox for Watts team here. Leah Thorvaldsen, the first winner of the Zwift Academy. Here's the pole we're seeing here. Charlotte Backus, who shows them week in and week out. One of the newer bloods,
Kelsey
I would say, this year.
Yeah.
Kelsey Winthrow, she's been a part of the top triathletes that have been using the platform forever here. We're looking Rachel Elliott. There isn't a more established elite rider amongst the Zwift community when it comes to the women. She was beating the men from the KISS Racing team, racing amongst the A's 5 years ago. I mean, this team really highlights that elite pro level of Zwift racing for women.
And I know we're leaving someone out, Nathan. It's crazy because every one of those names, I can tell you where they live. Well, Charlotte Backus, right? I mean, there's another rider here that
Vicky
is just
Nealon
such
yesterday
a
that we saw
force.
walk away
Every
in the SCR.
You put it perfectly, Nathan, when you said that this is a team of all-stars. They really are. Every one of them is a recognizable rider in their community, in the Zwift community. Most of them work in cycling as well. And, we don't even have Lizzie Duncombe out here today. She's another tremendous athlete on that team. They're so good that without Lizzie, they're still not only in the mix, but they're going to be really, really hard to beat because there you go, 21:39. Holy cow, ladies. So 21:40, let's say, for Sox for Watts. They're at that 16K split. That's going to go inside of the Wonder Women with a 22:17. They are nipping at their heels, as they say. So we're going to be watching that closely. Sisu, I race like a girl, 22:18. Look at that, Nathan. Look at that. Tied for second
17
right
as
now.
they come through. It does change a little bit as it tries to get the best time it possibly
They're as close as you could possibly be.
Exactly. So with the Wonder Women here, another, we really highlighted that all-star team, very established riders. They've been around for a long time. Wonder Women, now this is a team of women that I have seen a lot of new riders that are suddenly like showing themselves amongst the race community here, who are chomping at the heels though to get in and amongst. And this is the competitive side of establishing yourself amongst that top tier here. And I think that the Wonder Women is one of those teams that's doing that right now. They're really putting the effort in, not just out on the course, in getting the right riders there, showing up, making sure that they are well organized, well-oiled machine, but also in the way that they're promoting, the way that they're activating in the community, social media, the way that they're showing their brand. Amazing job there as well. So Wonder Women, as well as Team Sisu, these are teams that are really showing themselves to try and be at that top tier. And then you've got, these new development teams that are coming out of that, which is also a great thing to see. Aero Flyers being part of that new Aero team that are down currently holding the 24-45. They're out of Australia with the newly launched esports team that's nothing but national in real life Conti riders. So, and then you've got the rest of the Sisu, the new Sisu Do, and then, number 2. Then we got Soxrawat Sierra Unicorns. The development of this ecosystem of racing, especially amongst the women here, it's amazing to see how they support each other. It just continues to plant and grow and plant and grow.
It's one of the coolest things happening in sport right now, without a doubt. And a lot of people are starting to pick up on what you're talking about, Nathan, as we take a look right now at Monnalee Keller. We actually were lucky enough to join Monnalee in her Seattle Zwift studio. Monnalee, a mom of 3 really cool young daughters. They have a lot of support. I want to give them a shout out because right now I am sure that they're there cheering their mom on. Monnalee has a decided advantage with a built-in cheering squad there. So she's a Canadian living in Seattle, has a really cool job at Microsoft as well. She and V Win work together. V actually not in the race here, but another one of the great Zwifters that we enjoy. So Nathan, as we watch this team, they are going to be on the podium. They're definitely going to have some days on the top step. They'll crack the code. No doubt about it. So we're going to move over to the World Elite Zwifters here, Nathan. This is a team that, oh boy, this is not what you usually see from what has become one of the all-time greats in the WTRL. Let's see how this one's going now as we pick up the top men.
Look at how close it is at that last check mark here, though, between these teams here. WEZ, along with
7.
The Cryo RDT Vultures, 2017, 2024. Race 3, our Venture Boys, 2029, wow. 2031.
Look at this.
It is like, we're talking about 14 seconds between the top 4 riders here. Ram right. Now it's changing up. Venture Boys, okay. The times are coming in at the next checkpoint here. WEZ is absolutely pressing on, flying. We've still got about 8K to go to the finish line here.
It's not over.
Looks to chase. It's not over at all. This is heating up and across all the categories.
Nathan, I don't know that athletes dig any deeper. When you see a cross-country skier at the Olympics and they're collapsing as they come across the line, that's the same kind of effort that we're going to be seeing out here from these teams. So we're going to hang in there now with the World Elite Zwifter squad. Again, this is seconds right now, so you can't take anything for granted. These teams have got to absolutely bear down, hammer and tongs from everyone now. All hands on deck is the cry that you're hearing throughout the team. So we're going to go down and pick up with the Evo squad. This is going to be Team Meathead that we're looking at. Oh, man, the Tron bikes in full effect with this squad. They're a visual delight out here.
I love it. Coming out of South Africa here. Lewis N right there also from Evo. We'll give some shout-outs here. We're also seeing looks like Klinazowski, and that's going to be Rasmussen. So they're actually making a catch of a couple of riders that got dropped off. Borel, I think, though, from Cryo RDT, they made a catch and have passed Evo. They are flying out here today. 30-31 currently. They have almost 30 seconds over Venture Boys. What has WEZ done? The last checkpoint, they were about 7 seconds ahead.
Goodness.
WEZ need to shut some things down at this point. The next one's going to tell us where that race is at.
One split left to gather there at 24K. This team is absolutely crushing it here. Cryo Race Development Team, they are fully developed. Get rid of that D. This is just straight up race team. We're jumping back in with the South African. He's actually in Surrey Hills racing right now. That's Aaron Burrell. Oh, Aaron, I can't even imagine what he's going through here. These guys are turning themselves inside out as they look to shock the WTRL community here, as this would be, I'm going to call it, Nathan, Nathan, the biggest upset we've seen this summer. If Cryo RDT Vultures can take out the World Elite Zwifters here, this will be a memorable race win. It's not just about winning, Nathan. It's about who you beat along the way. This is the Premier League. It's no joke. No doubt about it. The Premier League brings the best of the best, and this is going to be absolutely a showcase week of racing. The 72nd edition in full effect, and there's your split. 30-31, the time at 24K, 30-53 back to World Elite Zwifters. So not done and dusted yet. We got to drive the final nails home, Nathan. We got ourselves an absolute Donnybrook going out here over 31 kilometers total on the greatest London flat.
Montiel here now, as you can see, Valera as well as Aquino there, Matthias Medici and Anderson, they're all trying to take the poles. 55 kilometers per hour currently, 6.1 watts per kilogram. Matthias saying, come on, pulling through, 7 watts per kilogram, trying to bring up that speed
come on.
as high as they possibly can to bring back that 30 seconds here. But up ahead of them is Cryo RDT, traveling 7 watts per kilogram. Cool. This is one of our top riders actually out of South Africa. We've seen him involved in so many of the sprints. We saw him involved also in the gravel series this past week. He's been really ramping it up out on Zwift. He's definitely going to be one of the strong men here, taking the lead at 180 beats per minute. He can taste blood in the water here at this point. He's going in for the kill as they come into the final 4K.
Looks really, really good for Cryo RDT, to tell you the truth. If they're going to have a 22-second advantage, that's some real padding because they still got the entire squad here together. This is a command performance, guys. Cryo RDT just knocks it out of the park here today. Nathan, they got it. I'm going to say now that they just need to stay on the gas the way they are, but they still have some turbo engines in reserve at this point. I mean, again, time taken off of the fourth rider's front wheel as they come across the line. So this is what you call a little bit of wiggle room, a 23-second advantage as they went through that checkpoint that was about 7K before the finish, and they're more than halfway through that last split to the final. Finish line.
Great call there, Dave. Great call. Now, I have a question coming on here, and we're going to move over just for a moment, as there is another situation going on here that I'm being told about, that over in the lattes here right now, we've got also a pretty cool situation going on here, as Flo Burrage is saying, Team Type 1 Lancets on latte course record pace, it might be, and that's who we're in here with right now. Smith now, Team Type 1 Lancets coming out of the US of A. We've also got, it looks like now, Weibel, J. Weiser there out of the Netherlands, one of the longest standing riders. Team Experimental, good to see Weiser. This is Julian Weiser. I've been saying that name for many years, and he's looking to set a course record here with Team Type 1. Great to see him out there on course. Bossert there as well. Weibel, it looks like. They're hammering away. They look good, well organized. Let's go ahead and bring in their splits here at this point and see how the lattes are playing out.
Yeah, there are some actual type 1 diabetics like Bossert here on the team. That's what the D stands for at the end of that. We learned that a few weeks ago. The F being a friend or supporter of that that awesome Team Type 1 movement. Or the Nova Nordis team does a great example. And there you go, Nathan. So I would have to reference what the fastest time on this course was, but they got the fastest time in their category. And you can see that they're on a great ride today when you talk about the Team Type 1 Lancets there.
43.54 is what they're trying to, and it's Kirchmer E-Cycling, which is what dominant team in the lattes, actually.
Whoa.
So we'll see what they can pull off.
Good luck. Really wishing you good luck out there. Vikings Valhalla sitting in second and ODZ in third. But obviously, thank you, Flo, for that catch, as we appreciate it. Nathan, great job there finding the team. That's going to be, again, a possible record being set today by Team Type 1 Lancets.
Yeah, Vikings Valhalla there at 34.11. Now it's really separating though with the Lancets at the front there. They've been super dominant. Vikings Valhalla 12 point. They were actually the fastest seed coming in this week. Looks like Lancets have done a little bit of homework, brought maybe a couple of ringers out here today and trying to walk away with this one as they've got a solid 40 seconds over the top of Vikings Valhalla, trying to take away that top spot for this week.
And I'm hearing from the mothership at WTRL that right now, Nathan, they're 30. If there was a pacer bot with the fastest time, they would be 30 seconds ahead of that bot. So they're in really good shape. to break the
Kirchner
record,
was
I should say, and win
34.07
today.
at this split. We're being told at the last split. So at the last split, 34.07. They've got a solid time. Vikings Valhalla could still go underneath the fastest record that's been sitting as well. So this is a very, very hotly contested, obviously, at this point, with the reality of two teams looking to break that course record if they can. But it will be Team Type 1, it looks like, at this point, that'll hold down and take the top spot. They just need to finish it out. There's about 4K to go.
Yeah, this London World, we're on the greatest London flat course. It's not the most often used course, but we've been out here quite a few times over the 72nd edition, 72nd times that the WTRL has been held. So here we go. This is a team that we're going to get a good look at the run into the finish here with Cryo RDT. Nathan, this should be the platinum standard here. A very good call. Yeah, good work, Aaron. I'll throw it back to you, Nathan, as we bring him home. But that's our man, Aaron Burrill. You can see him in real life. You can see his avatar. Connect the dots, people, as that man has had one heck of a ride today. Great job,
5.1 watts per kilogram. It's right to the line, though. You can't back off. Everybody's got to put in their effort here. 7 watts per kilogram coming from Harry Mustard here, pushing through. Borrell takes his pole at the front. It looks like 181 beats per minute. That's what it looks like to suffer to the line for your team as Cryo RDT looks to try and set a new course record and take down the win out here. They had the fastest time coming through at the last checkpoint. Can they hold off WEZ? Orange numbers popping all the way to the line.
And look at that, the rain lashing down in London, just like in real life right now. Boy, we really had one heck of a WTRL, and this will be one that the Cryo RDT team will not forget. The time again, taking off the fourth rider's wheel. You can see there, that's it, done and dusted. Congratulations, guys. We'll see if that was enough, because remembering that the world elite Zwifters are still out there and they're pushing hard. It wasn't over, Nathan, but they certainly gave it everything they had. You can't ask for more than that. That's what the WTRL is all about.
Matthias on the front here, Dave. 6-7 watts per kilogram, trying to pull through 50 kilometers per hour. I think they're trying to challenge here. It might be a couple seconds brought back, but with 30 seconds at the last checkpoint, that is a huge amount of distance to try and bring back this late in. They are going to have some pretty high kilometers per hour. They're just dropping riders, though. Forget it. You do your pull, get the fourth rider across the line. That's all it's about for WZ at this point.
Hey, I really respect what you saw there. That was exactly what I've talked about, Nathan, for many weeks, right? If you feel like you're at your limit, you get to the front, take one last effort, give everything you've got for the team, and then get out of the way and let the boys gallop home. So we're looking at Anderson right now. Again, this team has been the gold standard. I'm going to say Martin could give the exact data, but let's just say that they've won about 90% of the races we've seen in the WTRL races that we've seen. And they finish, I think it's just outside, Nathan.
Yeah, it looks like 39-20, 21 we'll see. Laborde coming on through, and there it is across the line. We'll have
called it 39-25.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how that's going to end up playing out once the results come on in. If we do look at the course records that were standing, 38:41 was the time from Saris to the Pros Closet. So we'll have to wait and see if it would be Cryo RDT that was able to pull that off.
I don't think they got it. I'm going to say they didn't, actually. I had it a little past 38:41, but the data will tell the story rather than my somewhat shaky, faulty memory.
Yeah, the back-end API don't lie.
I would trust it over Dave Towle, that's for sure.
Martin's been challenging me on that one once in a while.
Yeah.
All right, Flores coming on through. We're back in with Team Type 1. Kirchner Cycling also trying to make their way to the line here and hold down their fast. Interesting to see. What is this? Showing up with Shubo here. Maybe just a super strong rider on the team who's just decided to pull everybody around on the TT bike here. So that's interesting to see. 4:15 now as they push on through here in this latte category here in Sierra and Schroldo.
For those unfamiliar with this discipline, the time trial bike, now he won't get a draft. You can draft him, but there would be no tactical reason to do this other than a rider looking to get a better workout. Or hitting the wrong button.
Or just being a super strong rider who can come on through. I mean, that there could be that too, where you want one rider who just believes they can hang on at a certain pace and just sets only that pace and pulls through at certain times with a higher speed than the rest of the, up front, you just burn that match. One rider says, for 10 minutes, I'll do 7 watts per kilogram. Or something like that, or whatever, if you're in the A or 6 or 5 or whatever.
Ultimately, though, you're leaving some. But to be fair, you're leaving crumbs on the table. If you have a rider that strong, you could use them a little differently. That would be more effective for a faster time.
I don't know. I kind of like, I don't know. Mate, let's say you show up
How
with 8
could
riders
using a bike that doesn't give a draft be an advantage?
Because it's
he's
faster.
on a narrow bike?
Yeah, because it's that much faster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Way faster.
Okay, so there is a very small window where that might work. I would agree that.
Yeah, so you burn like 2 or 3 riders for 5 minutes, right? And then you just stick with your 5 left, and they're the ones who work. Yeah. That would be a pretty cool, I don't know, maybe
it's an interesting tactic. It's a next level tactic. That's for sure.
There we go.
Yep.
Let's see that level. TFC coming through here, as we can see. This is going to be the lattes now, finishing up. And Team TFC Raptors, they were sitting in 9th place at the last checkpoint. They're battling it out with 2 guys Nada as well as Cryogen Emus there. 35-30 tied for that 7th and 8th right now. So see how that ends up playing out. But it looks like the Lancets, I think, are going to be walking away with this one out here today, as we're waiting for the times to come in for the finish. Let's go ahead and jump back in with the women, with the Viennas. We haven't checked in with them, and they'll be finishing up out on course here, whereas we jump back in with the Wonder Women, who are trying to take down the top spot from Sox for Watts.
Mallory McRoasty, racing out of Washington, D.C. We got to know her well during the Tour de Boudica, a breakthrough rider this last summer, and we'll expect a lot more from her, as she's clearly, they got this rolling right now. The fastest time from the Viennas is a 41:58, if memory serves, and they are gonna be, I think, just a little outside of that. But again, no shame in that. This is a strong field. We're moving into a new level here, as the Wonder Women here, they've got the full squadra rolling right now, Nathan. And yeah, don't do better than this. All right, good job, ladies. So this is the battle that we've been talking about here.
Sox for Watts are going so fast. And they caught the Wonder Women. They're trying to catch the Cryo RDT Wrens now as well. So
look at this.
May be a new
it's
record.
It's 8 seconds separating first from third at that 24K checkpoint. I've never seen anything like this. 32:32 for Sox for Watts WRT Wonder Women. They're sitting 1 minute and 1 second. I got a little too excited there.
Full minute
back. And then
and at
Sisu
this point, they're
is close.
trying to beat their own record. They have 1 minute to get to the line. They're going to do it. They're going to set a new course record here. Sox for Watts walking away against themselves here at this point, as Vicky Elon looks to throw down that turbocharge here. I was wrong.
They killed it. Yeah, they absolutely crushed it. I apologize there. Bad math. This is the ride of a lifetime here today, as we take a look at the Wonder Women. Sox for Watts and Sisu. They're going to make up the podium, but I think we've got a new course record.
New course record here, I believe, 41:24 currently. They got to beat the 58. They're coming in with about 20 seconds, maybe more, even 28. So they beat it by a solid 30 seconds almost here. So
41:50.
Yeah. 41:58.116. So
old
new course record, I believe. We'll see once it does update here, but amazing job from Sox for Watts.
Well, they never disappoint. That's for sure. I mean, again, this one, though, beating this course record, and the new challengers, they come up against a Sox for Watts team that does not miss a step out there. So that team continues to roll on here, Nathan. There is no limit for Sox for Watts. Congratulations, ladies. Wonder Women giving it a good run out there today. And Sisu remains right up there. So
yeah, we'll get the results in here in just a moment. I do have them coming in, but I just want to make sure. We'll get a double check here with our man Martin. Martin, pretty amazing out here today. As far as all of the course records go, I mean, we really had, especially in the Viennas, it looks like a challenge on that course record. Pretty tight, though, it looks like as well in the C category there, Martin. Any thoughts on the day?
Yeah, it certainly looks like, Sox for Watts certainly looks like have their record, but I do believe that the Lancets have a record as well by quite a considerable margin. And I know myself, when I rode with the World Championship team for the latte category back in October last year, and we held that record as a Race 3R team for a long time. Kirchmaier were able to take it away in the summer, but I think the TT1 Lancets have done some serious damage to that time today.
43:19, is that correct? I think that they've actually come on through with a 43:19 to set a new course record with the Team Type 1 Lancets. Can I put these up on screen? Are we good at this point, you think, Martin?
You can, yeah, they're good. They're all good so far.
All right, let's go and take a look here real quickly. As a great job to all of the riders out here. Let's go ahead and hang out in the jungle for our results. How's that sound? Welcome to the jungle, everybody. We're back over on the dirt here. We'll take a look here at the current standings after Zone 1, 2, 3 are finishing up, I believe, the Premier League. Sox or Watts, just barely. I thought, with that 41-51 here, starts, it looks like, with Sisu trying to nip at the heel, but 1 minute and 33 seconds. I mean, what got into Sox or Watts this week?
Where are the Wonder Women?
Where are the Wonder Women? Where are the ones? That is a great question. I have a feeling we'll get that update here in just a second, I think, with the Wonder Women. We'll wait for that to come on through here. As we'll jump on over here, see if we can get an update on that. But it doesn't look like our Cryo RDT Vultures 39-13 able to hold off. What WZ did pull some time back there, 6 seconds, as it was 30 seconds at the last check mark, but we're able to pull that off.
And we were on board with the rider on the winning team, Aaron. Hopefully he's still alive. And
Aaron,
we'll
you want to jump in with Aaron?
Check in with him.
We can chat with Aaron for a second here. Aaron Borrow.
I wanted to give him a second to catch his breath. Poor guy. It was one amazing ride.
At this point here, amazing ride there. Aaron Borrow, you there with us?
Vultures, 39-13.
He's listening to us. We hear ourselves in the back. Aaron Borrow, you there? Maybe he can't hear us.
He will now. Hey, Aaron.
We're able to pull that off.
Aaron, can you hear us? Are you there, Aaron? Maybe he can't.
He's going to get it in a couple seconds here.
You think
now
so?
he'll figure it out. Yeah.
It's all right. It's all good.
he's like on that American radio delay.
He's on the delay.
Now he realizes.
I think it's not on the. We'll let it go.
Hey, Aaron, how are you doing, my friend?
All right, Aaron.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
He can't hear us. He can't hear us though. Not sure what the problem is.
Give him a second. He'll figure it out in the next 15 seconds, of course, once we'll check back in with Aaron. That was one amazing ride today.
It was a great ride by them. Definitely a great ride. Let's go ahead and jump back in with the results though, as he gets his I think it's just he just didn't have his headphones on.
Well, he was listening to our broadcast, not right. So he'll figure it out. So Cryo RDT Vultures, that was Aaron's team with a 39-13 taking the chocolates here today. The World Elite Zwifters a 39-37, so they get to taste silver for the first time in a long time. Vision D-Pack in third. It's going to be Race 3 Venga Boys, the Ram Raiders. AHDR, so the Australian Hump Day Ride A-plus team in sixth. Volendam of the WTRL squad in seventh, Aero Masters eighth, Evo Warriors in ninth, and then the Wild Dogs in 10th. Only 126 out. So you see how competitive the Premier League is. Of our 9 total waves, this one is next level, although you can see that some of the first and second wave teams cracked the code and ended up with times that may or may not hold on. If you're AHDR A+, you should be good for Premier League next week if they choose to take the slot.
Yeah, good to see. Look at all those Premier League qualifications. Nice job out there today, for sure. Frappes now, 2 gas rim. They hold on with that solid 41-18. Evo Vortex, followed up by Race 3R Fleetwood Mac, Innovation Alien Express, and then BRT Triple Bears, Kiss Racing Team B, followed up by Cryogen Turns. Eat Dirt from Zone 1, Zone 2 Evo Vortex, and then Z-Sun Jupiter in the Premier League as well. That'll be a tough one to hold on to, I think, with that 42-40, as it's really starting to heat up at the top end of the Frappes. I'll go on over to you for the lattes here with those Team Type 1 Lancets there, Dave.
A new world record. Congratulations to Team Type 1. That's just awesome. 43:19 is the new benchmark time. Congratulations in that latte category out to the mighty Vikings, Vikings Valhalla, finishing 35 seconds back in second for silver. ODZ taking the bronze. Then it's going to be the TFC Hornet Squad in fourth, Los Fanaticos in fifth, the BRT Tequila Chasers in sixth, Z-Sun R Venus, Tuga Zinata, Cryogen Emus, and Team TFC Raptors. So I'm starting to realize that Cryogen's strategy of using birds as team names was almost limitless, where Z-Sun never imagined they'd have more than 9 teams when they started using planets, right, Nathan? So
I love it.
yeah.
Team TFC Hurricanes takes
Yeah.
down, it looks like, in the Premier League, followed up by Team Type 1 A1CS there. Almost a minute back, though, so it looks like TFC really doing a good job this weekend at Mocha's. Lost catch up. The Swedish team there coming on through with Valhalla Jalahorn in fourth place. Team Type 1 Hypers throwing down almost 2 minutes back. Wadi Inc. Racing. Hemby Leopards. We've got the now we're getting out into the savannah. Cryogen Errands and then GC Scrambled Legs for ninth. Eat Dirchois. That's what's holding down currently. We still got some zones to go though. With 8 zones besides the Premier League, lots of people can still take down these top times throughout the rest of the day. Real quickly, I want to remind everybody we're not going anywhere just yet, but just a reminder. Number 73. Greatest London. Are we back on Greatest London Flat for one lap next week for number 73? I'm going to have to double check.
Probably
on that
not.
one. Probably not. I think
We don't
images
repeat
updated.
courses. So
No, we don't repeat.
data
courses,
entry
so
error.
Data entry error. It's all right. It's all good.
Harrogate, it looks like, is where we're going to
Are we
be
out on Harrogate?
next week.
Martin, where are we
Yep.
next week, Martin? Where are we at next week?
We're going to Harrogate. I've not automated that screen yet. It's manually typed, and I totally forgot to update it for you. But the graphics, right? Number 73, Yorkshire, Harrogate, UCI. Nasty course for a
Martin,
TTT.
we'll allow one mistake.
Yeah,
Martin.
yeah.
I
Well,
think
yeah. I mean, we'll let it slide. We'll let it slide on all 4,000 plus riders or whatever we're doing
Yeah.
here. Real quickly, I'm going to jump. Aaron, are you still with us? Can you hear us? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, he can hear us now. Great. Aaron Borrow, Dave, I'll throw it over to you for an interview with Aaron.
Wow. Aaron, talk to me about that last K. You guys knew you were on a great time. Beating the world elite Zwifters has to be a mighty, mighty prospect. Take me through the team's effort out there today.
Well, for us, it was pretty good this week because we had one of our strongest 8 riders. Thankfully for us, we got a lot of depth in our squad, and today it all came together. It was a very flat course, which meant the sort of lighter riders like myself and Eddie were always going to take strain. And we felt that in the final K, I was really suffering just to hang on there. I was getting anaerobic, but Felix, who's one of our professional riders, he just told us to dig deep, just put everything we could, and we managed to cross the line with all 8, which is a first for us, and we're really proud of that effort.
That's actually a really unique ride. Talk to me about, do you guys use a pacing schedule for the first 10K? When you take the start, how much have you backloaded knowledge?
What we do, or what we've learned, when we first got into the Premier League, we were literally getting torn apart every single week. And slowly but surely, as we started getting our squad together, we realized that doing 1-minute turns on the front was really hurting the guys. And it was almost as if the guy behind the guy doing the pull was also doing a pull. So we found that we were almost felt like we were doing double pulls. We reduced that by half, and now each rider has 30 seconds. And in the last 5 seconds of each pull, the rider in front taps off a little to let the guy come past. And we've realized that this has really smoothed things out for us, and we managed to negate and nullify any kind of surging.
I love it. This is the science in sport that it makes team time trialing so much fun. For you, if I know this is going to be a really tough call, but there's something very special about WTRL and team time trialing. Is this as much fun as you have racing, or do you enjoy racing by yourself? Or I realize with the team in the format of road racing or individual time trialing, what do you enjoy the most? Or if it is team time trialing, what is it about this?
What is very unique about this is that when we first started as a team, as Cryo RDT Vultures 2 months ago, we didn't know each other. So we random bunch of guys who got together from all over the world, and now we've all become really close friends. We've got to know each other, and what's unique about the strategy we're employing is that the bulk of the team within the Vultures are trying to qualify for the Zwift Invitational League. So we're using this as a way to get to know each other, our strengths and weaknesses, so that we can use that and employ that if we qualify for the Zwift Invitational.
So last question for you there that is served up with the congratulations as well. It looks like by your wall behind you that you have done a lot of in real life events. Is Cape Epic as cool as I've always imagined it would be? That looks to me like I should put it at the top of my bucket list.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to race it twice. It's very unique. It's very hard. But it's something that any true mountain biker wants to complete, and I'm just thankful I've got to participate in it twice. Next on the list would obviously be Swiss Epic, and after that, the Pioneer in New Zealand. And because all three of those races are part of the Epic series, you get a really unique Epic Legends medal if you are fortunate enough to complete all three races.
Well, it sounds like you're living the dream. Did it stop raining there yet? Has it
stopped raining, but it stopped raining, but it's very moist outside. So I don't know if I don't think it's worth riding out tomorrow morning.
Probably
so
a little slipperier.
Yeah, it's a little slippery
than it is on Zwift.
Very, very slippery.
Hey,
yeah, it's very
folks,
slippery.
that's our friend Aaron Burrill. Aaron, congratulations. Let everybody on the team know how impressed we were here as well. Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Will do.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah,
cheers, guys.
Aaron.
Bye.
Cheers. Yeah, Aaron Burrill, that's a great story, and we're gonna have to clip that. That right there, very solid explanation of what these community races really all are about. The way that this
he really knows what he's talking about.
I mean, he understands. Yeah, well, he understands what he's involved in. That's for sure. And what the goal is. He was really able to express and put the right language and words around how this is developing. In that, like that's one team amongst so many teams, and the attitude, the goals within it, how it's developing toward those goals, the carrots that they're chasing, how they're going about it, and then as well, I mean, that's a petri dish they worked on, right? Like they were like, hey, we're not getting the results that we want. How do we change some variables here? They changed a couple up, saw what worked, and they're employing it. They get the win by a solid time gap. I mean, it shows that practice is making perfect. There's definitely a tactic here. There's a sport to be played here, and they just won at it.
Yeah, I love that game element. And Nathan, I just want to go back to something we talked about in the broadcast that he highlighted for those teams, the latte teams that are working hard. I think my big takeaway was short, fast pulls, not spending too much time on the front.
That was super interesting to hear how that was so important to kind of snowball that speed rather than burning somebody out at the front, to rather make sure that it's always a very high watts per kilogram, it sounds like, and just taking that quick little pull. You're doing almost a little bit more than micro efforts over and over and over again at the front. And only 30 seconds. I mean, that really gives an idea of how people are going to play this. I wonder if we'll see more people practicing that and bringing it in the future now.
I bet we do. The other thing that was notable was that the second rider in line was almost hitting the front pre-gassed out. And they recognized that was becoming an issue. So I love it. It has
the timing they were pulling through and the communication that has to go on in team. You're really starting to see, and I will compare it a little bit to the organization that goes on in regular esports where people are communicating over Discord. I'm doing this right now. You need to respond within moments of me saying, look, I'm done. Whatever, I'm using this ability. Now you use this ability. Now you use this ability. And their ability, obviously, is how many watts they're putting on the front, the speed that they're giving to it in order to get the highest speed they possibly can. It's great to see that development amongst this crowd here. So great job. Shout out to WTRL for creating the environment and the teams for showing up to throw down those kind of efforts here. So, again, new course records set out there today. Socks for Watts dominated in the women's. We actually didn't look at the results for the women's. Apologies on that. We had a little bit of a hiccup there. So let's go ahead and bring in, hopefully I'm getting a nod from Martin. I'm bringing in the data here for the women's because we actually did not look at the advantages. We always want to make sure we highlight every single one of them and let everybody know what the results were. And so it was Socks for Watts, Wonder Women. There it is, Dave. Go ahead. Take it away.
Hey, Thanks, Nathan. 41:51 new course record. Another one bites the dust. Socks for Watts, WRT. Congratulations, ladies. You're legends. Each and every one of you, legends. Wonder Women, 125 back. This is the team on the rise. Great trajectory. Keep working, ladies. You're going to have your day. Same thing could be said for Sisu. I raced like a girl. And that was close. Only 8 seconds separating silver from bronze today. The race 3R Luna Chicks ending up in 4th. And then it's the Cryo RDT Swans. Z Sun R Hypernova. BRT Hell Kittens in 7th. Socks for Watch the Aero Unicorns, the offshoot of the Socks for Watch squad in 8th. AHDRL Purple Armada 1, so they weren't in the Premier League. Neither was the Race 3R Lunatics. They ended up with the 9th fastest time and the 10th fastest time to Sisu Du. They were with us in the Premier League here. So there you go, getting a look at that. Always one of the best races of the week as we enjoy the WTRL for the 72nd edition. Nathan, good news, they're holding a 73rd. I was notified. So
73rd next week around one of the world's course. Round in Harrogate. Make sure to sign up. Registration closes next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. CST. Make sure to go sign up for that. Get ready. Get your team together. Get your tactics together. Get out there practicing. You heard how it's done. You heard how the Vultures got it done. You heard that they're trying to go for those top spots in the Invitationals with this kind of practice. So team cohesion, that's what it's all about. We'll be back at you starting next week. We will be loading up the schedule for next week come Sunday night. So make sure to watch out for that if you're looking for what is going to be broadcast. We're on to 6 races a week is the charge at this point. So that's what we're up to. And we'll see you next week. That's going to be it from us here for WTRL and Zwift Community Live for this week. Cheers, everybody. We really appreciate you. And as you always, make sure to hit those follow buttons so you know anytime we do go live. And great job to the racers. Thanks to the viewers. Right on.